A pleasant afternoon down Indianapolis. May, Mecum, 2021, 1956. Packard Caribbean Convertible. Just finished up about a 3-hour-long inspection, typical. Didn't have my Jackson stands in here, so it was a little more difficult navigating, getting 70 or 80 photos underneath the car, but I got them. Car's got a nice general presence. It is not a frame-off car that I can tell. Pretty nice solid survivor though. 374 cubic inch motor, dual quad setup, standard ignition. Supposedly put out 310 horsepower according to the original reports. A slight bit concerning is the noted puddle of antifreeze that seems to be coming from the passenger side of the engine bay. I look back here. We do have a couple of bypass / heater hoses in this locale, and those are probably suspect to be changed. The heater box here is above us as well, so in this corner and in this corner we've got a heater box, so I can't really get an angle to see if it's coming out of the block or the back of the block from underneath. Although I don't see it. I don't see anything on top of the tranny back there, and I don't see anything way back. So some fuel stains on the carburetors, but nothing really fresh on the intake. Same on the other side. Cast iron, the paint's peeling on the intake, and not really much, if any, restorative work's been done here in a while. Some grease buildup on the fronts of the heads. Packard chrome valve covers and oil filler cap. Down at the bottom of the radiator support, things look pretty stock and original. Upper tie bar and front closeout panel all look like they're in pretty good shape. That radiator core has got a little bit of mud nesting in it or something. Fins look like they're in pretty good shape. There is a shortage of antifreeze in the car, and there is a bit of crustiness that may or may not be just sludge from long-term nobody taking care of it, or it could be somebody's put some sealer in there. Hard to discern. Little bit of oil seepage coming out of what I believe is a remote oil filter canister. Don't quote me, I should probably know the answer to that. Someone's probably going to crucify me on the video if they see this publicly. Inner fender structure is in nice shape, and coming down into the rails there's another mud nest. The car is supposedly out of the Houston, Texas area, or Tennessee, according to a guy that walked by that said, "Hey amigo, how are you?" And he apparently is up here with these cars. There's our glass overflow bottle, or our windshield washer bottle, I mean. So this is a really original, all single stage paint under here. A little bit of oxidation in spots, but no rust or decay. All these spot welds along here look nice. The inner aprons of the fenders look nice. They look good from underneath as well. And there's not a big puddle of oil or anything underneath the vehicle. The oil is reasonably clean and up to the proper hash mark. The transmission fluid doesn't smell burnt and is pink and presentable. So you have a conglomeration of wiring and relays over here. The convertible top goes up and down. Well, it goes up. It was down when I got here, and I just ran it up. I did not get the wipers working yet, but I didn't try that hard. There's an insulator pad up underneath the hood, black vinyl unit, and then the edges of the hood, there's only one small little, I wouldn't call it a crack or a bend. There's nothing back here showing or indicating that the hood's been weak. Inside of the skin lip is nice. No rot or decay up there, and then the edge of the hood is in good straight shape here. I'll save us some time and tell you that the deck lid looks the same way in the trunk. Tape line here present, and this is, to the best of my ability, it looks like a single stage acrylic enamel. You can see kind of some heavier orange peel. I'm going to move the light and see if it's hard to see in here. The hood's sanded pretty well, but let me not jump on to the body and paint just yet. So mechanically speaking, I did a quick cold start on the car. I got lifter rattle for about 3 seconds, and then it was fine. No big puff of smoke, and the engine was stone cold when I got here. So the firewall paint is kind of cracked up, and you know, it's street cruiser quality. I think with about 50 or 60 hours in this engine bay, you can make it look spanking. That hood is heavier than all get out. Closes nicely. I think I'll move to the trunk. Key works, and the key cover works. Back side of the deck lid was resprayed. Nothing fancy there. Again, the lip is in nice shape. The boot cover is here. The inside was carpeted. I pulled some of this apart, and the floor pan looks pretty stock solid and original. If the car was a different color, it would likely be showing up in here, and it's not. Doesn't seem too smelly. We got a matching spare, and we got a jack. My light's starting to fade away. Rubber seal's in decent shape back here, and the trunk opens, closes, and latches as it should. I took the key off the ring, so for the record, I'm going to put this back on the ring here in a moment when I'm offline. I'm going to put the top down in a second, and then we'll go ahead and do the interior before we crawl under the vehicle. The top goes all the way down, by the way, and it clamps. No fitment issues with that. Everything works there. The car's got an electric fuel pump installed. It's going to be a lot easier to see this interior with the top down. There we go. Speaking of power windows, that right rear one doesn't go up or down. These windows all go up and down, otherwise without an issue. Glass is in good shape. I'll show you one before I close the rest of them down. This frame's a little bit scratched up, kind of scuffed from just running up and down. Appears to be original glass in the car. There we go. Power window switch has got some light pitting on it, but as a general rule, it's in pretty decent shape. Trim inside the car is pretty nice. The visors stay put. Chrome rear view mirror is in really nice shape. Dash cover stitched and done really nicely. I'm sure it was redone. The door panels, other than a small scuff right here, look very nice, and there's a little bit of edge wear on the other side I'll show. Bottoms of the door skin corners are very nice, and new seals glued in here with a little bit of overspray. Newer seals glued in there. These A-pillar seals were not changed. These things are beat, and they're in pretty rough shape. Door jambs otherwise were taken apart nicely. You can see the no overspray on the gasket. A little bit of a tape line issue there. Original sill plates they reused, showing some general wear. Carpet kit was replaced, mats were replaced. I'm not sure if the seat frames themselves were rewrapped, but they're everything's in really nice shape. I unzippered some of these cushion covers. We might have used the original foam when they redid them, but the cushions themselves are in very nice shape. Someone has likely recovered these, and they're much more presentable in real life than they were on the website. The backs of the seats are really nice, probably too nice in white to have survived this long. The car is showing 81,000 miles, and like I'm saying, they probably reused the foam, but they redid the covers, so that's why they're a little bit dimpled. Door panels were recovered on both sides. Quarter trim, I'm guessing, was redone as well, because it's very nice, nicer than it would be if it were 60 some years old or better. So steering wheel's in nice shape, a few little chips here and there. Chrome horn ring shows nicely. Gauge faces are nice and clean. Chrome's in good shape. Courtesy lights working over the radio. I didn't get the power antennas to go up. I'll try that again. Clock face is a little bit degenerated. Glove box liner looks like it's new, and it works pretty good. Got some paperwork in there. Push button transmission. I have not operated that because for obvious reasons. Gas pedal and brake pedal look original. Kick panel chrome looks nice. It's like that. Little bit of polishing required. Wiring all intact. And the chrome down low on the dash is in good, well-preserved condition, not beat up or pitted, just minor light general wear. Up here on the top of the windshield we have a little bit of general wear, as you would expect. That's not been changed, polished, or replaced. Alright, so we've got added aftermarket seat belts. Not much to talk about in the rear. I don't think the back of the car has been sat in much, and things just seem fairly clean. Once this interior was done, I'm guessing the car didn't drive a whole bunch. Seals are new on the top. Canvas obviously is in great shape, and it obviously works well. But a lot of the original trim is just well preserved. A little bit of light aging, cracking, a little bit of light pitting, but from 5 or 6 feet away from back here, it looks fantastic. Up close, you know, it shows its age. Duplicate scenario over there. By the way, that power window button also does not work that window directly from the vantage point of that side of the car. We'll move on to the chrome and the bumpers and the wheels and the tires. The chrome front and rear looks really, really nice. There's some hairline scratches on this right front bullet, but nothing too detracting. The fitment to the body is nice. That gap looks pretty consistent and pretty even. The gap on the other side is slightly down in the front and a little tighter in the back. Kind of just comes up a little bit. Can you see it? These lights have survived pretty well with some age cracks, but nothing horrible. Headlight bezel trim is really nice. The grille shows fairly nice. You can see some age settling in the corners, but off from a distance it looks pretty good. The egg crate behind it is painted gold, and it's not bent up or messed up down low or up high. So the front of the car is pretty sexy. Really no major ills to discuss other than a little bit of that age in those lights. Chrome up top may have been redone. I'm guessing it has. Badging's probably original. Mirrors look great. Windshield trim and vent window chrome is fairly well polished, but I don't think replated. If it was done maybe in the 80s. Wiper stanchions, oh, this looks pretty original, but pretty well preserved. A couple small stone chips, one there in the driver's vision path. Other than that, the glass is all in pretty good shape. Coming down the sides of the car, both chrome door handles look like that. All the trim on the side of the car looks pretty much like that. Just nice, general, lightly used condition. Quarter panel spears. These lights are operable, by the way. When the headlights are on, those are on. These are probably the most pitted piece of trim on the car. These little end caps, they don't look bad. These Packard emblems and the Caribbean emblems have not been re-anodized or plated, just they're kind of original and got some pitting. This rear bumper trim has a little bit of a scuff on it. No, where was it? It was down, I can't see it now. It's a really, maybe it was on the other corner of the car. I'll have to go back and take a peek at it again. But the chrome plating is exceptional on the back bumper. No major scratches or flaws that I could see. Looks good. Maybe it was there a little scuff over here? All right, not yet. Lenses are decent for original, a little bit of overspray on them. And then the anodizing here appears to be original. So there is our trim. Haven't got the power antennas to go up yet. So let's go down through the paint and the body color. It's pretty unusual, pretty unique combination. But it's growing on me. That's my way of saying, what do you think about that? White's a pretty forgiving color. So from the short distance, it looks really, really nice. Up close, we've got much contamination to discuss. It's just, it's a little bit small and a little bit everywhere. It looks like this has already been cleaned up as best it can be. And these are either some lime spots or some bird droppings or a little bit of touch up. There's some dark spots down in here. There's some lacquer checking. You can see the cracks. I've got still photos to show the prospective buyer. But there's lacquer cracking in all of the top surfaces of the fenders. It's real subtle. But it's there. So I guess since I said lacquer checking, maybe I'll reposition myself to say acrylic lacquer instead of acrylic enamel, because the enamel doesn't usually do that, does it? So see these spots? I don't think they're going to come off. I brought a rag with me, and grab my rag again here. Hold on. Anyway, I've worked on these a while already. They're not going anywhere. So, that being said, the paint's got a nice general appearance. It's not really high on the reflectivity. The dark color's not too bad. You can see some reflection from the items behind me. It's not orange peely. It's really presentable. The car's a lot better than what I'd say a parade car looks like. And it's probably 2 steps down from being a really well shown and received at an event. I think it would still be well received. It's just not it's not going to win any paint contests. But if you're buying it for a driver, you can see a little bit of they're staying off the edge of the trim there so they don't get through it. So there's a little bit of sanding marks here and there. A few things like that. A little bit of lacquer checking up on top of these quarter panels. The digital paint meter readings vary around the car. I'll send still photos of all of these. We got 10, and we've got a crack right here in the paint. And then it's going to jump up to 30s and 40s, 12, 21, 10, 15, 13. All of that right there indicates some good magnetic adhesion. 28, now we're getting into questionable whether or not a business card magnet would stick. 29, 37. There's a little bit of filler here, but that's a factory leaded seam. So 33, bottoms of the doors, they'll still hold a magnet. Overall, I would say I'll let the photos do the talking on the magnetic adhesion process, but overall, magnetically speaking, that's what this gauge does. It gives us the depth of paint that's on top of the metal. And in all the crucial areas, 24, 10 on the skirt. Ahead of the tires, we got some filler there, but 49, so some repairs no doubt right down in this area. And there was one other spot. This door corner sticks out. This is probably the least aligned component on the car. Top of it's lined up nicely. Bottom just juts out a bit. And if you twisted that door in at the hinge post, you'd probably lose this line, and this line's pretty good. So you're gonna have to live with that. The doors, though, open and close really nice. It doesn't take much more than that to close them. Other ones the same way. Down the side of the car, very straight, as straight as it would have been in the time it was produced. I couldn't pick up a date code on these Coker tires. Don't know how old they are. They got plenty of tread though. See which one of my lights I haven't used up yet today. The wheels are all, the chrome's in good shape. Somebody could have taken a little more time to clean these up. Wheel splash areas are nice. Just some dirt and clay there. No real age cracking seen in the sidewalls. A little bit of cracking in the striping. And again, the tread's really good. I think the least polished wheel is this one here. This tire's showing the most age, and the wheel needs the most cleaning. A little bit of overspray on the tire. Backs look as good or better. So again, some small paint infractions. Small. Nothing horrific. No dings or dents. No exterior rot or decay to speak of. Just a little bit of orange peel contamination. I think this was probably shot in some guy's garage. A nice garage. They probably sprayed the floor down, but I don't think it was shot in a booth. But they took all the trim off. But you can see a hair in the paint here. And again, some lacquer cracking up in this area. It'd probably look good for another 10 or 12 years if it didn't get exposed to any really bad weather. All right, going under the front end. Rear backing plate on the front drum brakes. It's in pretty good shape. Suspension's all been painted. Some bolts have been changed up front. Bushings probably were serviced at some point. Those rear bushings look pretty good. There's some compression there from a jack on that lower cross member, but these front control arm bushings look like they're in good shape. Just a little bit of age. These upper core support bushings, you can tell those are old and original. Little dry cracking present. Front suspension, these frame rails don't have any collision damage on them. They don't look like they were bent or hooked or anything unusual. Sway bar bracket's been out of there. A little bit of oil dripping off the rear main, as you can see. The majority of that back there is antifreeze. And again, a little hard to get to everything under here at an auction. Not my favorite place to do an inspection, as I have bitched about before. But we can get them done. Structurally speaking, I'll get down to the side here and do a better job showing the structure. This steering dampener arm has got some compressed bushings, probably going to be due for a change. Exhaust tailpipe's got some rust holes right through them due to condensation, but the exhaust is still pretty quiet. Now back up here under the splashes and up in all this area is very stable. I know that this angle's very close. It's hard for you to see what I'm seeing, but there's nothing to worry about up here. Bottom of the radiator tank's pretty clean. Let's move around the side. Down along the driver's side, here's a pretty good example. If you can see some of this lacquer checking and the paint up close, I'm going to move the camera slowly. And some of those lines show up in the blue. They're not too bad. There's some shrinkage lines. That's probably what they are, is some sand scratch shrinkage lines or a little lacquer checking underneath that got sprayed over. This brown has a metallic, I forget what the color of it is, the technical color. Small chip here. All right, let's not get distracted. So everything under here was painted, but not in a harsh way to try and hide much. It is an undercoat for sure. I did not try the parking brake. Don't do that in case they don't move afterwards. Lord knows when the last time is somebody did it. But the dog leg of the fender here is in nice shape. No real complaints there. These gussets coming out of the frame rails holding the floor supports steady. Let's see if I can get a good angle on that. Those look good. Typical convertible frame with the reinforcement flat steel welded on the bottom of the frame. And these gussets, here's a better way to peek at them. And they all pretty much look just like this. Side to side, back to front. That's what they look like. We've got an electric fuel pump on this car. Pinch weld down along here. Looks nice and dry. Rocker panels may have been worked on. So some rusty bolt heads, here and there, probably. On the bottoms of those fenders. I think some of that will clean up. Somebody just didn't do a very good job. Some of that will polish off there. Some grade 5 bolts used in the back end here to do some service work on that suspension dampener. Mufflers are pretty old, duals setting up there with just a common 1 7/8 ish. The still photos will be easier to navigate. The rear end may have been out of this car and serviced. It's cleaner than some of the other components. Transmission pan's going to be hard to see from here. Ah, there we go. Nothing really heavy there. I think it's hard to tell. It's just hard to tell. There's a mud nest. Hopefully there's no bees in it still. But down the side of the car you can see some inny outy dings on the trim and a little bit of plating fade. But it doesn't look bad when you're standing up looking down at it. Last perspective here under the car, because you're probably getting tired of hearing me talk about it. But the gas tank's been out. Rear frame structure looks nice. None of that looks like it was ever taken apart. There's a patch right there. There's a little welded patch up there, or so I think. And but if we come along this rear panel, it looks nice and solid. Some this is just some undercoat peeling. That's more like a textured bed liner type material that was sprayed over it. So there could have been a little bit of repair work there, but nothing much. The structure of this is essentially, this rear frame support is essentially sound. Somebody might have hooked a chain on it to pull it out of a mud puddle a time or two in its life. But those bushings are pretty good shape for original. Same over there. The mufflers are up front and the resonators are back here. That's why it's still pretty quiet. So no real collision damage that I could see or tell you about. These inner splash panels behind the tire, quarter panel drops, there's some pinhole rust spots. See them right? See them right down in there? Those are little tiny holes. But essentially, get my fat ass under here. Essentially, it's pretty sound, and both sides kind of look just like that. So no evidence really of collision or heavy rot, scale, or decay. Again, it's hard to get an angle on that because the resonator's in the way. I do not smell a fuel leak, and we have a rear end housing that's been cleaned up. I don't really see any axle seal leaks. The paint looks like it's pretty nice on it. So it may have been out and had some service work done on it, or at least had some service work done on it. Right here is the butt end of that reinforcement steel that comes down on the frame, just like it should. All right, we're getting ready for a cold start. Engine temp is 75 and the floor is 74, so it's stone cold. 81. Electric fuel pump. Come on, baby. There we go. Waiting for our gauges to come up. Generator gauge is bouncing a little. We don't have much gas. Temp gauge is down. I don't know how long they'll let it run in here, but we're not showing any oil pressure on the gauge. Let's see if we can get these wipers to work. Radio's crackling. Where's the power antenna at? Let's see. Here it is. I don't see any antenna action. You want to rev that up a little bit? Would you mind? Alright, this one's drawing a crowd apparently. None of these guys have masks on, so I'm going to stay way the hell back. All right, running pretty good. So we've got all of the lights are working, reverse is working, turn signals, brake lights, everything except the right circuit. The right brake light's out and the right turn signal is out in the back, and it's frozen in the front. A little bit of a rich burn condition. Not too bad. Kind of sounds like that noise might be coming from the fan or the water pump. Thank you. So the headlights, taillights, reverse lights, they are all tested and found to be working. I have not gotten the wipers to work yet. The power top works. I did not get the power antennas to operate. And the turn signal and brake light circuit on the right side is not operating. When I get a little bit of a clearing here, I will try the heater blower, and that'll wrap it up. Jason Phillips from Auto Appraise, 1956 Packard Caribbean Convertible. I'm down at the Mecum auction, 2021. Pre-purchase inspection for out-of-state client if you need service like this. 800-301-3886. Good solid survivor, probably Southern car. You can hear that fuel pump leaking. I would like to test this, I don't want to kill anybody, but I would like to test this push button transmission, right? All right, we're moving. Probably gonna get in trouble here for doing this. Okay, the horn works. All right, last thing here. Let's, this video's getting long. I'll try the wipers and the fan motor off screen. Cable is frozen up. All right, still have no oil pressure, and the temp gauge is not coming up, which is a little bit suspect since we're low on antifreeze. So might need some service work there. All right, thanks for hanging out.